Hello there, thanks for stopping by PosterCentral.com's video blog, and I'm Pete Howard, and I have a very famous poster here to share with you today. Of course, many of you who found this on Google search or whatever knows what the poster is, but it's the Jefferson airplane and the Grateful Dead in the Summer of Love, 1967. It's known amongst poster collectors as BG-74 because, of course, Bill Graham had a numbered series of rock concert posters that he promoted that went into the early 70s and into the 200s, but this is the 74th poster. It's not only a great poster, in fact, let me run it by you. It says, Bill Graham presents the San Francisco scene at the top because it was in Toronto, Canada, not in San Francisco, but as you can see, a very typical Graham and San Francisco design, utilizing photographs of both the airplane and the dead. Again, 1967 started in late July, went to early August. It was a week-long series of shows, by the way, not just one concert. Nice autumn colors, oranges, some green, some say khaki. Just nice, it's a nice color scheme. And it's what's considered amongst series collectors as a set breaker in the series because it's hard to get. And you can just imagine all the San Francisco music fans who had collected all the Bill Graham posters up to that point. All of a sudden, number 74 was a gig way up in Canada, the other side of the country. How are you supposed to get that poster? And then added on top of that, most of the posters never reached their final destination. And I want to be real careful not to repeat stories as fact here, but we can certainly say the most oft-repeated story is that the poster was printed by Tia-Lautrec Posters in San Francisco, but it was a Canadian series of gigs, right? Well, the story, the legend, whatnot goes that the customs agents at the border between U.S. and Canada confiscated the posters because for Canadian entertainment, supposedly the posters were supposed to be printed in Canada. So, real hardcore aficionados may know how many were destroyed and how many were kept or how many snuck through or whatever, but it's it's a fun fact to know about this. I mean, they are still around. You see them sometimes, but not as often as nearly as often as the other numbers. Interestingly, this was printed two different ways. This is the paper or cardstock, different terminology, but as you can see, it's the fluid copy. And they also made stiffer ones on real board that you can't do that with. They pretty much have to. This could be rolled to be shipped, and the board ones have to be flat. They made so they made both kinds, which is pretty interesting. You might see at the very bottom there it says the venues, not the Fillmore or the Avalon, it's the O'Keefe Center, which was really weird because that was like the straightest place in Toronto. They had like ballet and opera there. And then, all the heads were very grateful in the summer of '67. Lo and behold, here comes, this was a show from heaven, not from San Francisco, the Dead and the Airplane. The Airplane were clearly, even though with history now, in the 21st century, we sort of see perhaps the Dead as a little bit more of a legendary group and stuff than the Airplane. More collectible, there's more Dead collectors and Dead heads, more community. Clearly it was the Airplane were the headliners. It was their gig. They were coming off Somebody to Love and White Rabbit, two monster hit singles, and the Dead certainly, of course, they never really had hit singles at all. So some reviews of the show talk about Grace Slick's great vocal and everything and how she really commanded the night, so that's pretty neat. It's just funny that it ran for 7 days and 7 nights. I wonder if the band partied at all, if there were two between shows. The matinee and night show for 7 straight days, and so obviously Graham and company thought if we're going to take the show across the country and all the way up, we're going to get our money's worth and not do a couple gigs. We're going to really, get the most mileage out of it that we can. The poster artist, by the way, we always like to mention, is James Gardner, and the photographer of those two pictures is famous San Francisco photographer Herb Green, who shot a ton of pictures of these bands that you've seen. So it's a real sweet piece. It's got all the aesthetics. It's again the combination of psych design and photographs, which personally I love. Great timing, just tough to find. There's handbills, of course, and there's programs as well. In fact, there's bumper stickers too. They really printed up a lot for the show, but again, that border confiscation left the poster a little tough to find. And there isn't a normal second printing per se. There's just commemorative editions much later. So anyway, I knew you had to see this one because I love to show it off. So thanks a lot for coming by, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.